welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be doing this. We are going to be drafting this. Okay, this is the straight dress that I'm going to be drafting today. Okay, so I don't know, you can't see everything clearly. Let me just try and then show you guys what you're going to be drafting. So you're going to be drafting the bodice, okay, together with the yoke. All right, so this is what you're going to be doing today. And then we are going to be drafting the sleeve as well. We have one full sleeve, and that is a 3/4 sleeve and a flat sleeve. Okay, so we are going to be doing these sleeves. We are going to be drafting the sleeve as well and the yoke. All right, so stay tuned and let's just jump straight into the tutorial. Okay, wait, I have my pens here. All right, I'll be using these pens interchangeably because some of them are almost finished, and I have my compass. So if you don't have a compass, make sure that you get one, or I'll show you a different method to use my curved ruler and also my straight ruler, my of course my scissors, and my um tape measure as well. So let's just jump straight into the tutorial. I've already drafted my basic bodice. Okay, this is my client's basic bodice. All right, it's from the shoulder to the waist. All right, so I've labeled this the center front, this is the bust, this is the under bust, and this is the waist. Okay, after drafting all this, the first thing you need is the nipple to nipple. All right, so in my case the nipple to nipple is 7 inches, so I'm going to be dividing this by 2. Okay, and I have my 3.5 inches, so I'm going to be marking 3.5 inches on the bust area, the under bust, but I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to mark it on the waistline because we are going to be connecting this. Right, so after that I'll just connect this into a straight line like that. Okay, so the next thing is to divide my shoulder measurement into 2. Okay, so I added half inches to this shoulder measurement, so I'm going to ignore that half inches, and I'm going to divide the original shoulder measurement into 2. Okay, so I have 4.5 inches for the original shoulder measurement that is left. Okay, so I am going to be dividing that. So the next thing is to just connect this to my bust area like that. So now after connecting this to the bust, the next thing that you want to do is to find the radius of your bust. Okay, the radius is from your bust point to your under bust. All right, so you can either do this by using your protractor or your compass, sorry, or your tape measure. All right, so I'm just going to check whether my compass is accurate, but it wasn't, so I just went back to place it on well like that. Okay, and I have 3 inches here. Okay, so that is my radius, that is from the distance from my bust to my under bust. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and extend this onto the shoulder line like that, and you can choose to mark it all round. Okay, but I will just tackle the shoulder line because that is where it's important. Or you can just pick up your protractor and then mark it, like draw a circle to create the radius. Okay, but I'm just going to be tackling the shoulder line. All right, so from my bust to my upper chest line is 3 inches, but looking at this bodies, okay, looking at this, the uh, tube, okay, it's not really close to the bust area, so I'm just going to come up by 1 inches. Okay, just to ignore the deep neckline, right? So, and deep bodice. Okay, so I'm going to come up by 1 inch like that, and that's going to be my new chest line. So the next thing is to take our dart. All right, so I'm going to be taking 3/4 inches on this side and 3/4 inches on the other side as well. because my client does not have a prominent bust, right? My client boobs is not that big, so that is why I am using 3/4 inches. But if you are drafting for someone with a bigger breast or bust, you should go for 1 inch or 1.5 inch more. All right, so after that I'm just connecting this like so, and I'm going to be connecting this to meet my uh, under bust like that. Okay, normally I would come down by 1 inches, but this is because if you are drafting for a client that has a bigger bust, you need to come up by 1 inch. But in this case, my client does not have any big bust, so I just connected it straight to the bust area. So on the 1 inches extension that I came up by, I'm going to be marking the same 3/4 inches there, and I'll connect this to my bust like that. Okay, so just like I was saying, okay, you might either come up from your upper bust line before connecting it to your bust point like that, okay, by 1 inches, and also come down by 1 inches if you have a client that has a protruding bust. Okay, but if you don't have a client that has a protruding bust, just go ahead and then connect this like that to the bust line. I'm just going to be connecting this using a dotted line. Okay, so after taking in this, the next thing that you want to do is you want to smoothen out your curve. Okay, go ahead and smoothen it out, smoothing out all your curves. Okay, so after doing this, so just go ahead and smoothing out all the curves that I have. Okay, just like that. Okay, so after smoothing out these curves like that, okay, so guys, the next thing I am going to do is, because I'll be adding my yoke, okay, I'll be adding the yoke, I am going to be adding this back to my, because it's basically a full top, but it's just the yoke that's separated. So I'm going to be measuring what I have. You have 1.5 inch. Okay, right from this side I'm going to be extending my 1.5 inch. Okay, so back to this side like that. Okay, so after extending your 1.5 inch back, you might want to connect this to your armhole like that. Okay, so this will be our new armhole, right? Okay, right, then you go ahead and then draw um, the dotted line. Okay, just like that. So now the next thing that we will be doing is taking in our vertical measurements. Okay, I'll mark it here on my upper chest line like that. Okay, so I'll mark this, and then I'll come back here and measure whatever I have here, 1 inch, and I'm going to be adding this back to this part. All right, so now after adding this back to this, I'm going to add my allowance of 3 inches back to this part. Right, so we move to our waistline. Okay, so I have 6 points. Okay, I'll just mark this, and then I'll come and add the dots here. I'll come and measure this and add 1.5 inches to this. Okay, like that, and then I'll add 1 inches chain allowance to this. Okay, so with this we are done, and I'll connect this to my bust like that. Okay, so after doing this, we are going to be determining the shape of our neckline. That is the sweetheart neck. Okay, so as you can see, it is not that deep, it's not really deep. Okay, so you're going to be doing something small. All right, you're going to be blending it from here. Okay, you're going to be blending this area like that. Okay, so like that. After blending this up, okay, so we are going to be blending this side as well. It's not really deep. I'm going to be taking my so I'm going to be creating a curve like this. Alright, so as you can see, it's not that deep. So this is the curve that I'm going to be creating. But for the allowance for the yoke, okay, you might want to add 0.5, 1 or 1.5 inches. Okay, so at max 1.5 inches is okay, because half inch is going to be sewing this and the rest is going to serve as a seam allowance. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is add your shoulder allowance to this as well. Okay, so I'm going to be adding 0.5 inches of shoulder allowance to join my yoke. But before that, we are going to be joining the body, so we are going to be adding 0.5 inch when we are cutting on the main fabric, okay, in front here and then this side as well, to enable us join it together. All right, so after that, just add a 0.5 inches to your shoulder like that, and then you're going to connect the yoke, so front yoke to the back yoke. Okay, all right, so after this we are done. We're basically done. It's just as simple as that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this out, and then so one thing before you forget is you're going to be adding your 0.5 inch to join this to the dart. So you're going to be add 0.5, and you're going to be adding another 0.5 here. Okay, so if you cutting this out, you need to indicate the amount of allowance that you will be cutting out. Okay, so okay, so now let's see if our yoke is accurate. All right, so just join the side obviously, and then now you see, okay, so our yoke just falls in place like that. Okay, so that is why I opted that you extend the side, because if you don't extend the side, the yoke main body is going to fall short of fabric. Okay, exactly from this side. All right, you are not going to be able to fix your yoke. That is why you extend the side. Anytime you are inserting a yoke, you need to extend your pattern. That is, you extend the amount of that you took out to the other side. All right, so that it will be able, when you join the yoke together, you will be able to fit in perfectly. All right, so guys, we just jump straight to the back. This is my zip line, also from the shoulder to the waist, okay, plus half inches. And let me just go ahead and bust. This is the under bust, and this is the waist. Okay, so for the bust, for the back, we don't need the under bust line, but we'll be using it as a guide for something that I'll be telling you later. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and mark my 3.5 inches of nipple to nipple measurement like that, and I am going to, okay, so I'm going to make this like that. Okay, so once I've done that, I'll just go ahead and write my shoulder measurement. So remember, I said I added half inches to this, which I am going to be ignoring because that is not part of the deal. It's just a seam allowance which you don't need to add to this. So right after this, so the next thing is to insert our bust radius, okay, so that the front bodies will align perfectly with the back body. So that is the reason I brought the under bust here, but it's not necessarily needed. And then add your 1 inch and then create your new chest line like that. So this is going to be my new chest line. Okay, now we will be ignoring this dot for the back. No, we'll be ignoring this dot. We won't be using this dot for the back. Okay, so what I am going to do right now is I am going to be coming here, all right, by half an inch, okay, on the waistline. So half an inch to the back, and I'm going to be connecting there. So you're going to be extending this. So this line is not bad, all right. So just extend this to the upper line like that. Okay, so when you're done, just connect this to meet the 1 inches mark that you've made. Okay, so I'm going to switch in my pants right now because this is not working out for me. Okay, so half inches on both sides. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be inserting our, so remember this is now our yoke, okay, and we added 1.5 inches to the yoke, which we are going to be adding 1.5 inches to, and then now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be inserting the horizontal measurements. Okay, so I'm going to mark quarter plus the dots that I have over there. I'm going to go ahead and add it to it like so, and then when I'm done, I'll add my sewing allowance of 3 inches to this. So the next thing is to mark quarter of the waist measurement like that. Okay, so mark quarter of your waist, and don't forget the dot. Okay, so add your 1 inch of that, and then 3 inches of seam allowance. So when you are done, just connect this like that. Okay, that's just as simple as ABC. Now we'll be joining this today, so you're going to be adding, so add 0.5 inches, add 0.5 inches, and you're going to be adding 0.5 inches to the neckline. So add 0.5 inches, and now it's time to determine the kind of shape that I want for the back. So I'm going to be coming back down, okay, a little bit by half inches back, because I don't want the back to be straight like that. Okay, so this is, I'm going to be adding 0.5 inches. Okay, so this side when I'm cutting it out, and I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches to the yoke. And then, so the reason I brought the up under bust is just to get the radius, all right, so the radius, so that it will match the front one that we did. Okay, so that the sides and everything will match. So just go ahead and add 0.5 inches to join the front yoke to the back. So for the waistline, we're going to be coming up from our center back like that by half an inch, and then we're going to connect it to the side. Okay, so just extend this and then connect from the center back like that to meet the seam allowance. All right, so once this is done, just cancel out the old waistline like that. All right, so after canceling this out, we are just going to go ahead and then come in from our center back, okay, by 0.5 inch, just like I am doing, and I am going to be blending this to meet the up area, okay, because that's the waistline. I'm going to be blending this to meet the upper zip area. All right, so just blend this smoothly like that, and then now we are just going to be coming in, okay, again from the center back line like that, and then we are going to be blending this also as well to create our new zip line. All right, because our back is not straight, that is why it is essential to always take care of the zipper bulges around that area, okay, around the waist area. All right, so after that, just go ahead and connect this and then cancel out the 0.5 inches we came in by, and then this is our new zip line or zip allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this out. So just like we did for the front, you're going to be checking the authenticity of this yoke. For the sleeves, I'm just going to go ahead and mark my cap height like that, and then I'll transfer the measurement. All right, so to determine your cap height, you're going to be dividing your bust into 12 plus 0.5 inches. Okay, so after that, I'll just go ahead and then connect this like that, and then right on the cap height line, okay, I'm going to be inserting my armhole. So the armhole that I used for this was 7 inches, and then plus half inches of ease. Okay, so I'm just from that ease allowance that I added, okay, I'm just going to be adding a seam allowance. Okay, so the seam allowance I'm adding now is 2.5, but it is too much. I'm going to be trimming some off later. Okay, so from there I'll just go ahead and then connect from this point to this point like that. Okay, so back to the seam allowance. The reason I added a whopping amount of 2.5 inches was I wanted it to be able to meet the seam allowance of the bodice. All right, so once I've achieved what I have, I will trim the rest off later. So I'm just quickly dividing this into two. All right, so on that point, okay, I'm going to be drafting my back armhole. So I came up by 0.5 inches, and I'm going to be connecting this from here, okay, to that point like that. Okay, so I'm just going to connect this like that, and I'll continue with a straight line, okay, to meet my armhole like that. All right, so that indicates the back armhole. Okay, so now for the front armhole, okay, I'm just going to be dividing from there to there like that into two. Okay, and then also I'm going to divide here into two as well. All right, so now that we've gotten 3 points, okay, I'm going to come up by quarter inch from the first point, and then down by quarter inch from the third point like that, and I'm going to be connecting from here to there like that. Okay, and then once I'm done, I'm just going to continue. I'll flip my ruler or my French curve like that, and I'm going to continue with the curve. Okay, so this makes the front armhole, right? So just to indicate, this is the back and this is the front. Okay, so the next thing is to insert my shoulder to the sleeve length that I desire. Okay, so I'm marking my shoulder to my elbow plus the original length that I need. Okay, so shoulder to the elbow and then original length, and I'm going to be connecting these points into a straight line like that. So right on the elbow point, I'm going to be marking half of my elbow measurement, that is 11 inches divided by 2 like that. So I'm going to connect this. Okay, so I'm going to be adding half inch to this, and then connect right from the seam allowance like that to meet the elbow points like so. Okay, after that I'll cut this out. So guys, after attaching the sleeve, all right, I will be cutting out the rest of this one, but I'm going to be leaving a bit of a 1/2 inch to serve as the seam allowance that I need for the sleeve. So don't worry if you don't understand anything, you get a full explanation, or you see what I'm talking about in the sewing of this video. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to be opening this up and then cut out my front armhole. So we are basically done with the sleeve, and then we are going to move to the skirt drafting. Okay, so guys, the skirt drafting. Okay, so because I came down from my bodice, all right, I ended around 15 inches. That is on the waistline, was from the shoulder to the waist was 15 inches, sorry. So from the shoulder to the waist was 15 inches. So I am going to place the 15 inches right on my starting line like that. Okay, and then we are going to continue from there. So I'm going to be marking my shoulder to my hip and then shoulder to my knee. Okay, so this is my shoulder to hip, and then I'm going to mark shoulder to my knee, and then I'll add my seam allowance. Okay, so after that I'll just add 1/2 inch for joining this to the top. Okay, and then I'll just go ahead and then connect this into a straight line. Okay, so after that I'll go ahead and then connect my hip also. I'm going to draw a straight line. Okay, like that, and then I'll do the same thing for the bottom part. So I am drafting this, okay, both the front and then the back together, right? So that is my zip allowance like that. And okay, so the next thing is just to connect my knee point line into a straight line like that. Okay, so now from that side I'm going to be marking quarter of my waist measurement. Okay, so from the center front, okay, I'm going to be marking quarter of my waist measurement like that, and then I'll add the dart. Okay, 1 inches for my dart, right? So remember it's 3 inches for the body, so I'm going to be adding 3 inches to the skirt as well. So on my hip line like that, I'm going to be marking quarter of my hip measurement plus the 3 inches of allowance. So after this I'll just go ahead and then subtract 1.5 inches from this hip area, and then I'm going to be marking it on my knee area like that. Okay, so after that you add your 3 inches of seam allowance to it as well. Okay, so just connect this. All right, and also from the waist to the hip like that. Okay, so guys, this is for a normal pencil skirt. Okay, but this is quite different because we are starting from our high waist, not our low waist. Okay, so guys, the next thing is for a fit. Okay, if you are drafting a straight dress and the person would like the dress to be fitting, okay, you mark your low waist measurement. All right, so that is my low waist measurement that I am connecting into a straight line. Okay, so from the shoulder to the low waist of my client is 19 inches, so that is what I have connected into a straight line. So once I'm done, I'll mark the low waist measurement like that. Okay, and then the next thing is to add my dart. Okay, so 3.5 inches of dart, and it's going to be 2 inches away from the hip area. Okay, so I'm just on that point, I'm just going to mark my 3.5 inches to create that parallel line that I need. Okay, So once I'm done, I'll just connect this, and I'm going to be taking 1/2 inch on both sides like that. Okay, so after marking this 1/2 inch, I'm going to connect it to meet my 2 inches point that I've created away from the hip. All right, so now after connecting this, okay, I am going to measure whatever I have here, okay, and I have 1/2 inches, and I'm going to be returning it back to the low waist like that. Okay, so because we took 1 inches out, we returned it, and so we are applying the same method to this one as well. Okay, so I'll just add my my sewing allowance of 3 inches. All right, so now I'm just going to connect this to the waist and then to the hip like that. Okay. Okay, so I am going to be coming down from my hips by 2 inches. All right, because I don't want the hip area to be too tight. Okay, I want it to be free around the hip area. So that is why I'm coming down by 2 inches. Okay, so as soon as I'm done, I'll just connect it, and or I'll blend it to meet the down part like that. Okay, this also help reduce the vein, this kind of vein like nature around the hip area. So on the waistline for the front band, I'm going to be coming down from the seam allowance, okay, and I'm going to be connecting it to my side seam like that. Okay, so right from the center front, all right, I'm going to be coming down by 0.5 inches, and I'll connect this to my side seam. Okay, this is because our waist is not straight, so that is why I came down by 1/2 inch. Okay, so next is to cut this out, and I'm going to cut the front and the back first because of the front depth. Okay, so now you see the vein I was talking about around my hip area, so I came down by 2 inches to avoid that vein look. Okay, and also cut the front waistline like that. Okay, so that's all for the skirt drafting. Okay, so guys, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also share it to your friends. So guys, this is the dress, and I am going to be linking this in the descriptive box so that you check out how the sewing of this dress went as well. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next tutorial.